Oh yeah, we got posters, baby. Oh my god, look at the Rock's face. Smash? Smash? Anyone? So first off, we had Smashing Machine. We had The Rock try and act. Is he any good in this movie? He's not bad. But this one, he's fine. Like he's trying to be serious, he's trying to change his image. It doesn't work. The movie is fine. He's trying to be taken seriously. You can tell. And I think, he's probably doing like a C grade action hero. In this one, he's like doing like a B minus, and you gotta give him points to that. I don't know if he can cry on camera every time. From what I can remember, he's gonna go crying. He's not even the worst actor in this movie. Mike Collins, actual UFC fighter, he's not great. He's very much just reading his lines. It reminds me of the 2010s NBA games when they had a story. It was just like they used the NBA actors, but they were just reading their lines. There was nothing else going on.
That's right. We all have that attitude. The train will be rolling in no time. Let's do it.
It's okay. Look, I actually don't think this movie's bad. But I think this movie is confusing. It's like two different movies kind of smashed into one. Smashing Machine, shocker. It's a biopic, so it's about a drug addict. Yippee! Oh, Mark Kerr is still alive. The guy that The Rock is, based on, he's still alive, and I feel like he's influenced this movie like really, really, really badly. The first part of this movie is like a sports drama, and then the second part of this movie is like, my wife is a fucking crazy person. And that's kind of like the two movies that are kind of just splashed in together. About halfway through the movie, she like tries to get him to relapse on his drugs because he was a drug addict at the start. And it's just like, and she's just like, oh, relapse or hit me or something. Like, you don't be a freak. And obviously he doesn't because he's chill like that. And then she just disappears. I was like, oh, good. We're done. They probably broke up. Rip. Emily Blunt, amazing actress. She fucking absolutely steals the show in this movie. She's the only one that like pushes it to a good level. But by the end of it, and it ends the movie thinking they're like broken up, but it has like the fade to white text, and it's just like, oh yeah, we actually got married, and we were married for like 7 years. So then the whole movie just feels like he's bitching about his ex-wife. Anyway, does it feel like the Rock is trying to jerk himself off? Yes, with like long shots of his muscles and him trying to cry on camera, but he does a fine job. Even if Emily Blunt does a lot of the lifting, this movie's like a 4 out of 10, maybe a 5. I mean, you do get to hear The Rock pronouncing arigato phonetically, and that's really goofy. All right, next we have Good Boy. Maybe I don't have a poster for that one. Oh well, if I do have it, it'll get added to the wall. Look how big it is. We've done this for about every other month for the last year now, so thank you so much if you've been watching these. Anyway, we watched Good Boy. You guys probably saw all like the hype around it. It's a horror film told from the dog's perspective, right? It's only like 80 minutes long, which is totally fine for a horror movie. You don't need to be like 2 hours long. Conjuring, I'm looking at you, Conjuring. Boo, Conjuring, boo. You don't need to be 2 hours long. Don't worry, the dog doesn't die. Or does it? But this movie being so short, somehow it really drags that first like 30 minutes, and it only really gets good until like the last 20 minutes or so. The ADR is like really apparent, like, the I'm talking but you don't know that I'm talking but you can feel that I am talking kind of like vibe. It sounds like the main human character like is doing like boyfriend ASMR, like Corpse's voice. I deepened my voice to sound masculine and scary, which is a little bit jarring because the movie is like very quiet for the most part. So yeah, you just hear him go, good boy. Again, those last like 30 minutes are pretty good. It's pretty tense. It's pretty scary. Your villain's like a scary peanut butter man. And it did get a fright out of me. Maybe it is because it's a dog. The gimmick maybe does work. First 40 minutes of like blue balling the audience with like not a lot to show besides people walking past like curtains and like the wind. Oh, it's always it's wind. It was hard to get through. I don't know why there's like this weird trend of like horror films having strange like house music for the tense moments. Felt very awkward. I mean, I love that it's there because it's goofy, but it's not adding to the tension that you think. Anyway, The Good Boy is very much a YouTube short horror film that was extended to be a feature. Maybe not for the better either. Cool concept. I'm glad it exists, but it's not amazing. It's like a 6 out of 10. It's like a 6 out of 10. Speaking of music, holy. Tron Ares. So off the bat, I did watch this in 40X, which is 100% like swaddled my opinion on this movie positively, because I wanted to give this movie every chance to impress me, because I have a soft spot for the other Tron films. Like everyone else who ever talks about these Tron films, all these movies are fine. None of these are like, oh, this is the best, this is cinema. They just look cool and they sound cool. I mean, Legacy sounds cool. The first one sounds fine. I watched them recently. They're not great, but they're fine, right? I think just the overall aesthetic of it is the thing that carries the entire franchise. And it does the same here. They get such a large pass because it just looks cool. The neon funk, the neon little light cycles. I wish this movie was a bit more of an invasion film than what the movie that we actually got, but that's a separate story. Yes, it has Jared Leto in it, right? Look, I think it's just because people are hating on Jared Leto that people are hating on this movie. And the movie itself is fine. It's not perfect. It's another Tron movie, and I think it's the best one. But your issue is Jared Leto. Yeah, if you switch it out for another actor, I think this movie would have been received a whole lot, just because the outside consensus is he's a bit of a freak, and he is. Hi, editing angel here. Why didn't they just use Cameron Montague? Right? He was already on set. He's only in the film for like 30 seconds. That's the better pick. All right. Anyway, enjoy the video. He is giving like Morbius vibes. Subtlety is not this movie's strong point. An actual line is that a double helix? Yes, that's a double helix. Oh, that's the thing that we need for the MacGuffin. Yes, that's the thing we need for the MacGuffin. It's very much like, this is the plot, this is the plot, this is the plot. You following on? Click, click, click. It's laughably goofy, but fuck, I kind of like this movie. It's very nostalgic to me, right? I felt like 12-year-old me just sitting in the theater, just enjoying Legacy for the first time, right? It just very much felt like a Race to Witch Mountain, those era of films. I'm trying to think, even like the original Tron Legacy, it captured that 2010s angsty movie that we just don't have anymore because obviously they don't make enough money. It's not just like an animated film or a Marvel film, you know? It's something that's a bit more original. And yes, this is obviously a threequel or whatever, right? Nostalgia's playing a fact here. It does feel very different to everything that's currently out, and that's a good thing. But again, I'm giving this movie such a hard pass because the music is banging, and the grid and the aesthetics and the midway twist when you go to like the old one and it looks like doo-doo because it was supposed to look like doo-doo. It captures something that we don't have in movies anymore, but it's still bad. The movie is like junk food, right? I feel bad for liking it, and while watching it, I'm like, fuck, I enjoyed this movie. I predict this will have a second life on streaming services because people don't want to publicly support Jared Leto, but this movie is good. Again, I watched it in 40X, so it was like roller coaster movie. Okay, probably, with my experience, it's like an 8, right? But in reality, for the people who saw it in a traditional cinema or the people who are going to watch it at home, it's like a 6. Maybe my favorite part is when Jared Leto said it's Troning time, but people need to get off this movie's dick. It feels very like you just bandwagon-y hate this movie, and although no one watched it. You shouldn't. It's not great, but it's like okay. Him. Them. They. Him. We are them. This month is full of movies that have seemed to have been held as flops online before people like got to actually see them. Like, look, it says Jordan Peele in the poster there, and I think it is probably doing this movie a disservice because, you know, you set the bar to something that he's created, like Us or Nope or some of those other ones. I mean, Nope's fine, right? But I think it sets the bar too high for this movie. This movie is okay. It's not perfect. It has a lot of flaws. But I love the religious similarities between sport and deities and the existential question this movie brings up. Everyone in this movie gives a really good performance. I didn't expect to see Jim Jeffries in here, who is like an Aussie comic, you know, does a lot of stand-up, does like game shows in the States now. He's in this movie and he gives like a very like creepy performance. And that was quite a shock. Marlon Wayne was like intimidating and like oddly friendly the whole time. But this movie has way too much going on. The first 30 minutes or so was like really well done. I was like really loving this movie, and it was like focused and intense. And like by the midway point, I felt this movie was trying to say too much. None of it was badly done per se, but it did confuse the overall movie to an ending I both love and hated. Maybe it was too over the top for what the movie was. Like it went, it didn't fit the rest of the movie. You can do that in movies, but this one, it just felt very unnatural and very jarring. This movie also gives like mega Jaden Smith 2016 Twitter account levels of just like quotes. The transitions of powers are never peaceful. Like hard as hell stuff. I'm keeping it vague here because I think it's pretty good. Although it has like a messy second half, it's like a 7, maybe a 6. It's probably close to 6. But it's like, it's in that like gap where it like, if you really like it, you could really maybe say it's a 7. But I don't think you can give it any higher than that. All these movies are fine. Except for one. Hell yeah. Oh hell yeah. Beast of War. Look at this poster. Just take a second. Look at this poster. Tell me what kind of movie you expect this to be. Like a B grade, so bad as good kind of movie, right? Primitive War, Dangerous Animals, The Monkey. It's in its own league of this kind of movie. It is the best one of those ones I just mentioned. And this movie rocks. This movie actually rocks in a way. The scenario is so dumb. Yes, it is mega loosely based on like a true story that maybe like is maybe based on the true events for like the first 30 minutes of this movie. And then it flies out the window into mega stupid town. And I fucking love it. So let me give you a quick like rundown, right? A young Australian platoon, 1942, end up in an attack at sea, and they're stranded on a shipwreck. And then a big shark comes up, and then like all hell breaks loose, and like everything. It's a total fuckery, right? Go see this movie. I did not know what to expect, so every single moment shocked and surprised me. And something about Aussie banter is just calling your platoon a bunch of cunts just hits different. It just hits different. They could have like hammed it up, right? But it's all like really well acted as well. So like it feels grounded in this like messed up scenario. They could have cheesed it up and been like, "Oh my god, it's a shark." But no, they're like, my arm is gone. I'm freaking out. The shark is very secondary to this movie, but it's so good. But the shark's not the only enemy in the water. I'm recommending it because it is stupid. Go see this movie with some friends and maybe a beer and just have fun with it. It's not like cinema, but it's fun. It's just entertaining. The one that I don't think people are going to agree with me on. I can't get it. Help. I gotta do like the Chainsaw Man face. Tongue out. Okay, Chainsaw Man, the Reze arc. This movie's fine. I know I missed the hype around Demon Slayer like last month. I'm slowly catching up on that, but for now, Chainsaw Man, which I have seen up to date, I don't know. This series might not be for me, guys. Because like after watching everything that I've watched so far, I'm entertained, but I think they're relying too much on a lot of shocky tropes that aren't exactly my cup of tea. People have to address the thing in the room, right? It's very sexualized, right? People can't just not acknowledge that's what's happening right now. I almost stopped watching after like episode 6. I got through it all because there was only 12 episodes, and it got better. It did get better. I can admit it did get better. Like that's Chainsaw Man as an entirety. And I before the movie came out, I was worried that it was gonna kind of feel like that watching the movie. And it does. It does. I know people are saying that the anime, like the actual like manga, is better because it doesn't skip over so much. But I just feel like this movie is super awkward, right? The first half of this movie, something's gonna pop off. And I don't know, maybe that's the trailer's fault for giving too much away, or maybe there's so many villains that kind of just rock up and then disappear. Your Typhoon villain about halfway, or in your final act, they're kind of just there and they don't really have a motivation that you can like understand yet. This movie feels like a Dragon Ball Z movie where it's like all the important parts will get retold to you in like a recap episode. I'm not saying it's like not pretty. I'm not saying it's like not well put together. I'm just saying that the ogling factor of the female cast is not great. Call me an old head for that, sure. People are glazing this movie a bit too much, man. I don't know what to tell you. The fighting wasn't great. Sorry, fellas. The fighting wasn't great. You got one fight scene. Anyway, the movie's like a 3 out of 10. I didn't enjoy it. If you're liking the series more than me for, XYZ reason, good for you. I'm not gonna like rattle your rum for it. I think this is very much a personal opinion on me. Don't get it. Maybe I'm just not an anime guy anymore. But all I know is, yeah, I didn't enjoy it. It's okay if you enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. Art is subjective, and that's what makes people. But don't come at me for it. I'm okay with hearing other people's opinions. I'm not saying my opinion is absolute. That is 100% not what this is all about. Black Phone 2. Next, we watch Black Phone 2. First off, let's just give a shorthand review of Black Phone 1. It's a slow first half, fun middle, and then like a pretty dumb just finale in general. I love the house being across the road. It was really stupid. Made the police look really stupid for that. It's a pretty good slasher. The villain literally dies in the end, so, you know, we get to the Black Phone 2, and is it unnecessary? 100%. Black Phone 2, 100% unnecessary to the story from the first one, but they made the square peg fit in the circle hole. You know, they did try, and it's good. All the issues I had with the first one, some of them are still there, and then there's new issues, so that's awesome. First one is the first act is, again, super long, but the plot is pretty solid. Like, I have to say, you know, them being haunted, it's a pretty solid plot. I don't mind that, right? The horror side of things is a lot more violent and a lot more creative. Fighting on different levels of reality is cool. Like, sometimes the devil's just invisible, and it's like, that's awesome. I love the sister character. We need more girl characters that just call people cunts in cinema, and not like a girl boss character, or I'm just like the sassy queen. I'm just like, no, you gotta be just not a bitch character, but just like, call it out. I like that about the second one. Yeah, I think the cheesy dialogue is something that, like, both I enjoy about this movie and I bring down for this movie, because you hear people being like, totally tubular, dude, and choice, and let's go see Duran Duran in cinema in concert, and it's like, okay, we get it. We're in the 80s. I didn't expect this movie to have like a weird like religious kink to it as well, which was funny. I really enjoyed this one, actually. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be just like a shitty little sequel, and it's not that. 6, maybe a 7, depending on how much you like the first one. I think it's personally better than the first one. It's a good time. Okay, now next one. Roofman. And this is a biopic. Surprise. There's a caliber of actor that only need to be in one thing a year or be known for one thing a year, and then they just go back into obscurity, right? And I think Channing Tatum is like the perfect actor for that now. He's in that like spaces like Mariah Carey and Michael Bublé and like Jason Statham. You know, Jason Statham only needs to be in like one AI action film every year, and people love it and go see it. Channing Tatum, give him an interesting role, put him in a new thing, and once a year come out in August or something like that. Roofman is good, but it is long. Entertaining, but it is slow. Enjoyed like, the first hour or so. You know, everything's kind of going at a good pace. And then as soon as, spoilers, this is about a real guy who escaped prison and was like sleeping in a Toys R Us for about 6 months or so. And he decided to do some good things, but then ultimately he got caught for doing bad things because he escaped prison. And the first hour is pretty good, and then he gets to the Toys R Us and they couldn't figure out how to kick the can down the road, and they couldn't match it to the rest of the movie they had. It staggers a little bit. As soon as like the love interest arrives, like Kirsten Dunst is doing a fine job she's acting fine, but the chemistry between Channing Tatum and everyone else on screen, besides his friend who runs the passport business, everyone besides them two, they have no chemistry. He's so awkward, and I think it's intentional, but it makes it awkward. Again, this movie feels like two movies, right? The Man on the Run, escape prison kind of story. And then the second half is like a cheesy Hallmark movie. And then when they collide at the end, it's like messy and sad, but it missed the punch. It makes it hard to recommend this one. Watch it at home in blocks. It's one of those easy ones where you can like pause and go to the bathroom or like pause, make dinner, come back, and it'll still be going, and then you haven't missed that much. It's more of a 6 out of 10 kind of film. It's not, again, I recommend it if you like those kinds of movies, but it's not the best one that there is. This one is Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. This one I'm conflicted by. I can't recommend this movie for the basis it's just too long. Yes, it's good, but it's not good enough. Jeremy Allen White playing a traumatized guy that needs to isolate and tough it out. And by the end, he finds out he shouldn't do that. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like anything like a chef that's very popular on Disney Plus right now? What? No, no, no way. I feel like he has been quite typecast into this like loner stereotype that I'm okay with because he plays it very well. But I love to see more from him. His songs in the movie are pretty good. I'm not the biggest Bruce Springsteen fan, so maybe if you are, you would enjoy this a little bit more. I love the fact that it's not so much about the rise of Bruce Springsteen. It kind of just drops you in, pushing the end of his career, like a very defining moment. It did get a tear like out of me at the end there, where it was kind of like sad, and like there are sad moments in this movie that are quite powerful and poignant and very much like real. Jeremy Strong, his like manager in the film, give him an Oscar to the payoff at the end, to the entirety of the experience. I don't think it's there. I don't think you get enough out of the time that you have to invest to get out of the movie. The movie is good, but the movie is hard to suggest. It's a very 5 out of 10 because you have to be on that like that wave of it, or really like Jeremy Allen White, which is why it got me in the door. But I enjoyed it. It's not bad. All right. Last one of the month, Shelby Oaks. Quick horror film rant before we just kind of get into like Shelby Oaks as itself. For everyone, like awesome horror film, you think you Bring Her Backs, you think you Talk to Me, you think I don't want to say Sinners. Sinners isn't a horror movie, but you know what I mean. Like for every one of those that have a scary element to it, there's like 5 that are okay. I'm thinking like Wolfman and Primitive War and Weapons. And like those ones, like those are like there's 5 of those kind of in that category, and then there's 20 just shithouse ones that are like your Megans and your Megan 2s and your Strangers Chapter 1 and your Winnie the Poohs, like those kind of ones that shit out by Blumhouse, the ones that kind of they're just hoping that make $10 on the box office to make $1 billion, right? That's how I see all horror films. So when I see that there's a new one, I'm taking a very, very loaded dice roll, I can say that this one is in that like the 5 that are pretty okay. I would even say it's quite a good horror film. I don't love horror films as just a genre. I don't have that escapism in me to want to be scared by something on screen. Found footage, YouTube, horror essay-esque movie, and it's very fun. There's a good mystery behind it. There's a good, tone, and there's a good pace behind it. Yeah, it does play the I'm going to be very quiet now, and then there's going to be rustling, although I'm going to flick my flashlight around the corner. But it all works because it doesn't feel forced. The jump scares in this don't feel as obnoxious as other jump scares because it is all kind of baked into the setting and the world, and there's an isolated feeling to it. It's something like Shelby Oaks is quite refreshing. I know this is a directorial debut from some YouTuber. I'm sorry, I don't really watch his stuff, but I liked it. I know a lot of people are saying it's quite like middle of the road. I think it's fine. I think I had a good time. I sat in the theater. I had the jumps in the. It definitely feels like a YouTube horror documentary, which is what it was supposed to do, and it's good for that. It has a full circle moment, which I think is awesome. I didn't expect it to have like a everything was connected to everything kind of moment. I don't want to spoil too much of this movie, but there's like a speed run getting possessed kind of like run on this film, and it's good. I genuinely had a good time. If there was horror films that I could recommend, especially found footage ones, which are, pretty hit or miss. Have you ever seen War of the Worlds earlier this year? Yikes. Shelby Oaks is good. I actually quite enjoyed it. It's going to be like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I don't love horror films, so that's a pretty strong recommendation from me. If you want to see the rest of these walls, there's been videos every month since last October to go have a look at. But I think this is going to be the wall for October. Nothing was outstanding this month, which was kind of frustrating to talk about. I wanted to have something that was like the big thing to come see. Though there are some surprise bangers like Beasts of War. Beasts of War fucking rocked. Love Beasts of War. Everything was just okay. Nothing was like absolutely like dog shit. There wasn't any movie that was like, I'm going to walk out of the cinema. There wasn't any of those. All the movies were just fine. So yeah, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. This has been The Wall. Let me know your comments and stuff down below as well about any of these films. I will be more than happy to try and have a discussion that's a bit more poignant and interesting. But yeah, so thank you guys so much. We do videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're doing mostly gaming, but I want to try and space things up, but we'll see how we get with everything. But if you've just been enjoying these ones, we'll see you in November for the end of November. Well, for the start of December, for the end of November. You guys understand. All right. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.